What's going on YouTube? So I'm going to be showing you guys, I already got it all disassembled, but I'm going to be changing out my rotors and brake pads on a 72 Chevy Impala. I believe this will work for 71 to 76. So pretty much just get right to it. I got my new rotor here. On the back side of the rotor, there's going to be a seal, which would be this right here. And then this will be on top of the bearing that's going to be inside. So be aware of that when you're replacing the rotors. Pretty much tool-wise, flathead, mallet, get you something to pull out that cotter pin. And then also I have an Allen wrench here. It's going to be a 3/8 size. I got me here a 1 1/8 socket to remove the nut that holds the rotor in place. I would say get you something to pry off. You might have to pry off the caliper. Mine was a little bit of a pain in the ass, so I had to pry it open. Pretty much, I would say also some high temperature red grease, also recommended for the bearings. What else? And that's honestly pretty much it, really. So pretty much, yeah, like I was saying, this back one, how I got these seals off, I just got my flathead and I pretty much pried into underneath here and pulled up on it, and got that to where I was able to pop it up to come off. The part number to replace that, this one's from AutoZone, A871 National Seal. It's literally the exact same size. And then the brake pads are MKD52S. Rotors are part number 5516. That's pretty much it. Make sure to grease up your bearing. Grease up here. Put that high temperature grease into here, all around it. Make sure it's good. Like I said, on the bearing here, make sure you put it all in there and get it all in the grooves. I cleaned it out. I would say clean it out as well, the best you can. It's not gonna be perfect, but just enough to where that old grease is off. I also cleaned off the other bearing that goes to the front of it, the washer, the cotter pin. That's the socket I was talking about, and inside that man, I can't think of the word. The dust, the boot that goes over the rotor that seals it all. I cleaned that out as well. Just get you a dirty rag or something you really don't care about, old shirt, whatever you have. Clean that out. Also, I'd say have some anti-seize as well. I'd put that on the bolts here. Just so that you never know, driving it for a while, if it's gonna be a daily driver, could from the rain and the rust on there, it could be a little bit of pain in the ass to take off. So I put some on there. I also bought this from AutoZone as well, some brake caliper grease. How this works pretty much, when you are putting on the brakes, you want to put grease here, I believe a little bit on the piston itself, on the back side as well, on the corners, anywhere it makes metal to metal contact, so that you won't hear that squeaky noise. I know some people get a little irritated from it, so yeah. Pretty much gonna grease this up, put the back wheel bearing on there, and then the seal, show you how to put that on as well. And yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty easy to do. I know on the book, on the owner's manual it doesn't say nothing about the back of the rotor having a seal on there, so just wanted to throw that out there for anyone that's doing or is a DIY. Nobody knows what that means, to do it yourself. So bugging for those that work on their own rides and want to do it and save some money, this is how you're supposed to do it. That's how I would do it. I mean, I never have any issues, so yeah. pretty much let me go ahead and grease this up, grease the bearing, and then I'll put the seal on, and yeah, show you guys I guess a time lapse of putting everything together. And yeah. And then I just wanted to point out as well, make sure your ball bearing stuff is facing downwards like that. And this pretty much sits like this. I would say if you have a socket big enough that fits around here, that touches this corner, cool. If not, you can get a piece of wood, and you can pretty much use this mallet and pretty much go around in a circle, make sure it sits flush and pushes all the way in. So that's pretty much secured and good. And pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much how you do this back wheel bearing, wheel bearing and seal. These old ones, you can either try to keep them, or if you know, kind of rough it up like I did right here, I mean, they're pretty much just trash. I would replace them, as soon as you replace the rotor. I believe these are lifetime warranties, so once you change these out, you can always, get new ones. So it's a good thing about AutoZone or O'Reilly's, most of my parts are from AutoZone or O'Reilly's. So yeah, pretty much I'll go ahead and get my piece of wood and hit it down with the mallet, and then start on the front side of it. I also put a little bit, some grease on there, because that's where the seal will sit. So I put some on there, make sure it was a good amount, around there. And yeah, let me go ahead and put this on, and so I'll go ahead and cut you guys on to the next part. And then also, before I forget as well, I would say have some brake cleaner on hand. Get you some, napkins or paper towel, whatever you have. And like I said, wipe this clean. As you can see, this is the back seal and the wheel bearing pressed in. I just hit it with the mallet, just went around it. Honestly, was just really careful. I wasn't going too hard, and just making sure I was going all the way around, because I don't have a socket big enough to fit that lip. Or, I mean, I do have a piece of wood, it's right here, but it was just way too big. So yeah, I did it that way. Everything looks good, not bent, not fucked up or nothing, sitting flush. So now I'm gonna put the rotor on the spindle, and we'll go from there. So once you got your rotor on there, same thing like the back, just grease up the inside of there, grease up your bearings, and then pretty much put your bearing in. When you put it in, make sure this side is facing inwards, and then you put your washer next, and then your nut, and then you put your cotter pin through, and make sure when you put it through, you bend it out. And then pretty much, yeah, just make sure it's all greased up. When you put the nut on, make sure it's pretty much snug. You don't want it loose either, but snug it just a little bit. I would say just by hand. You don't need to sit there with a ratchet or impact and sit there and fucking hit it, but just make sure it's snug by hand. It's good to go, like I said, and pretty much that's about it. And then I'll show you guys next on this piston here. You guys are gonna want some C-clamps, because you're gonna want to press this in. But before you do that, on your master cylinder, you're gonna want to open it up and crack it open, so that any kind of air in the lines get pressed out. So I'll show you guys next on that, just for a visual. But yeah, let me go ahead and put this on, grease it all up, and yeah. So that's pretty much how it's supposed to look like. I usually bend mine out. Some people bend one and then leave the other one out or whatever. I usually just do this. So yeah, pretty much make sure there's enough grease, spins freely, and yeah. Like I said, next we'll compress this piston here with the C-clamp, press it in. Like I said, don't forget on the master cylinder to open the cap. Don't take it all the way off, but just crack the cap open, like all the way to where it's almost off, where all you gotta do is pull it up, and yeah, and then compress the piston in all the way to it where it sits flush with the C-clamp. And once after you do that, then you can put your fresh brake pads on. Like I said, make sure you put some of that brake grease, put it on here in the corners, put a little bit maybe on the piston, just so that squeaky noise when you step on the brakes. After a while, you won't hear that noise. That's what it's supposed to cause, the brake friction. So yeah, then after that you're good to go, and it's pretty much vice versa on the other side. This is the passenger side, so I'll do the driver's side over there. I won't do a video on it, but just wanted to show you guys on the seal on the back, because like I said, there's no videos of it, and on the book it doesn't say nothing about it. So just wanted to throw that out there. Comment, like, any questions, like I said, leave a comment. And yeah, on to the next thing.